Hi everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave, working on my list of what you voted for me to do for you. This is XDC Network. Just a reminder, if anyone wants Bitcoin analysis, I do that every Monday. I do that every Monday on my website, pureelliottwave.com, on a subscription basis. I'll put the link in the description box down below. You can go and check it out. So if you want regular analysis of Bitcoin, you can get it. And a reminder also, next week on Monday we're launching a new product at Pure Elliott Wave, Euro-dollar analysis 5 times a week, text and charts, end of week video after Friday's closed. If you're interested in getting a grandfather rate for that, I'll put a link for that also in the description box down below. Let's get into XDC Network. I've just opened up my charts and I've updated the data, and back here was when I last analysed XDC Network. I was expecting it to go up. It has gone up and now it's going down. The question is going to be, obviously, how low is it going to go? So on my weekly chart, which is this, I'm going to zoom in from this high here, the high of cycle wave 1, which subdivides as an impulse. Leading expanding diagonal for primary 1, zigzag for 2, impulse for 3, zigzag for 4, ending expanding diagonal for 5. Okay, zooming in, we can see the structure of cycle 2 ending down here at this low in December 2022. Subdivides as a double zigzag, A, B, C. The first zigzag in the double is labelled primary W. The double is joined by a brief shallow 3 in the opposite direction, labelled X. And then A, B, C, the second zigzag in the double, labelled primary Y, completes the correction. When 2 is over, 3 begins. Cycle 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. That will be labelled at primary degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within primary wave 1, which I expect would be incomplete, this is too brief here for a primary degree wave, it would most likely subdivide as an impulse. So I'm going to zoom in on the structure of intermediate 1 and 2 now for the daily chart, and no, I think we'd put that there. Let's see how that would unfold on the daily chart. So I'm going to zoom in from this low, the end of cycle 2 in December last year, which is this low down here, and before I prepared my chart, this is what I was expecting last time, and yes, price has gone up, and I think this could be the end of intermediate wave 1 up here, and then we want to answer the question, how low is intermediate 2 going to go? So I'll clean this chart up and put some labels in here, and then I'll come back with you and put labels in here. Just very briefly before I get into intermediate 2, this is how I'm labeling intermediate wave 1, and I've got a truncation here, but I've done it because it's got a really good fit. Minor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within minor 3, minute wave 3 ended with a blow off top. Here's a really strong shooting star candlestick, and this is vertical upward movement. Minute wave 5, I have slightly truncated. This is an acceptable context to label a truncation. I don't like labeling truncations, and I'll always try and find a way to label a movement that avoids a truncation. But if the best fit has a small truncation and has the correct context, then I think it's acceptable. Truncations come after a move that was too far, too fast, and this strong upward move of minute wave 3 absolutely could fit that description. So that's how I'm labeling the impulse of intermediate 1. Now for intermediate wave 2, I expect it's unfolding as a zigzag. This downward movement here looks like an impulse, so I expect that minor wave A may be unfolding as a 5-wave impulse. When it's complete, I'll expect a consolidation or a bounce for minor B, and then another downward wave for minor C. Let's put a channel around minor A so we can use that to tell us when it's likely minor A could be over and minor B could have arrived. Let's use Elliott's first technique from 1 to 3 with a copy on 2. That actually works really well. I like that channel. It contains almost all of this movement with an overshoot for this third wave, and now an overshoot toward the end of the 5th wave. This structure could be complete any day now. We could be looking for a bounce or consolidation to begin for XDC Network for a B wave. I hate B waves. They are the worst. They exhibit the greatest variety in structure and price behaviour. There are more than 23 possible structures a B wave can unfold as. In classic analysis terms, we would describe a B wave movement as a complicated consolidation, or they can also be sharp pullbacks and bounces. So it could be a sharp zigzag, could be a triangle, could be a really complicated sideways combination. and it's impossible to tell what it's going to be until it's nearly over. So what I want to do for minor A here, I would want to use this channel. If we see a full daily candlestick above and not touching this trend line, I would label minor A over and minor B underway. Until that happens, minor A could obviously fall lower. My target for final support would be at least 0.027549. That is the logarithmic function of the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio. This chart's on a semi-log scale, so a logarithmic function is applied to the arithmetic 0.618 ratio, and that fits better for cryptocurrencies with their extreme volatility. I don't have an alternate wave count for XDC. I'm going to have a look at technical analysis indicators to see if there's support, yes or no, for this wave count. On the weekly chart, there is no candlestick reversal pattern at this high. This is not a dark cloud cover because the close of the body of this candlestick is within less than half of the body of this previous candlestick. For a dark cloud cover, it has to close at least halfway. It's failed to do that, and the long lower wick is not twice the length of the body, so it's not a hanging man either. But we are getting some downward movement. It doesn't have push from volume though. At this low, we had a morning doji star, these three candlesticks here, so that was good to see. And the strongest candlestick, the upward sloping green candlestick in the doji star, did have some push from volume. And here we were seeing volume strongly pushing higher, pushing price higher. Now we're seeing price essentially falling of its own weight. Price can fall due to the absence of activity from buyers just as easily and quickly as it can due to increased activity from sellers. So when you have less activity from buyers causing price to fall, that's when you get volume declining as price falls. On balance, volume was within a really quite a weak range, below resistance and above this weak support line, just at the bottom of this on balance volume portion of the chart. No signal on the weekly chart. ADX is declining. There's no clear trend at this time frame. The previous upward trend was indicated, but now ADX has started to decline as price moves lower. RSI is neutral. Money flow is neutral. Stochastics was overbought. It's in neutral territory, moving down toward oversold. Using a model of support and resistance in stochastics because there's no clear trend at this time frame, let's expect price may continue to fall to next support at 0.022356. If stochastics reaches oversold when price reaches support, that may be the end of the downward swing. As price falls, ATR is starting to increase. There is some volatility to the downside, so I don't think this downward movement is over yet. On the daily chart at the high, we have a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. The body of this candlestick fully engulfs the body of this candlestick. They're not particularly large, it's not particularly impressive, but it is a bearish engulfing pattern. We're starting to see an increase in range, it looks like, as price is falling. And overall, price is falling on declining volume, but you do have, for the short term, some increases in volume as price falls, interspersed by some upward days as price pauses. I can't draw a range with on-balance volume that would have any technical significance. Drawing resistance and support around this downward slope here would not have any reasonable significance, so that's a pointless exercise. On-balance volume is moving lower with price, confirming lower lows in price. ADX at this time frame does indicate a downward trend, which is now extreme. Not as extreme as it can get for XDC network, but definitely in extreme territory. So the end of minor A and the start of minor B, this would support that view. We could see a consolidation or a bounce to relieve extreme conditions coming sooner rather than later, especially as RSI is fairly well oversold. With those two indicators looking extreme, I would expect the end of minor A and the start of minor B sooner rather than later. This trend is in danger territory. Money flow also oversold, and stochastics oversold, but when a market's trending, we use money flow and RSI, not stochastics. And ATR, interestingly, showing a little decline for yesterday. It'll show an increase today, I think, but overall, as price is falling, overall ATR is actually declining for the short term, so lack of volatility for the short term. That also fits the view that we could be seeing a bounce or consolidation sooner rather than later. That's it from me with your update for XDC Network. As you voted for, I'll keep working through that list and I'll make an effort to get 1 or 2 a week done for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support.